And staying in the south of Canberra, let me know what your mobile reception is like there. There's a 25-metre telco tower proposed for one suburb in particular. If it's Fadden. If you live around Fadden, please do let me know how you feel about this, what your reception's like, and if you'd be willing to have a 25-metre Optus tower pop-up in the neighbourhood. That's next. There are plans for a 25-metre tall Optus tower, telecommunications tower in Fadden. If you happen to be in that area, let me know how you feel about this. Let me know what your mobile reception is like at the moment. Liberal MLA for Brindabella, Deborah Morris, is bringing the issue to the Assembly this week. Deborah Morris, good afternoon to you.
Hi, Alice. Thanks for having me.
What is mobile reception like in that area in Fadden?
That's a really good question, Alice. So just on background for any listeners who may not be aware, in March a development application was lodged for a 25-metre tall Optus phone tower on a very popular parcel of land in Fadden. So the proposed site for this development is directly adjacent to a local tennis court. It's across the road from a children's playground and from Fadden Pond. So when that development application was lodged, my office was contacted by a few residents who had very strong feelings about the proposal, given how popular the space is. So I decided to launch a community survey to gain the views of local residents. And one of the questions that was in that was whether they are satisfied with their mobile reception or not, and whether they need better coverage. And the results of my survey found, so 167 people responded to the survey, and of those, 28% were not satisfied with their mobile reception. So that's almost a third of residents who say they do need better reception in the area, but we're not satisfied with the location of the proposed tower.
Okay, so there is definitely a need for better reception for some.
So based off the responses that we got from the survey, there is a substantial group of residents who do want better mobile coverage. But what my survey also found was that 79% of local residents do not support the proposed location as it is.
Yes, as you said, it's near the pond and it's near the tennis courts as well. So were there any other options for where this tower could go? Why there?
Yeah, again, that's a really good question. So the development application that was lodged did cite alternative locations where this tower could go. And those options were not pursued because the custodian of those parcels of land would not engage with the developer, which did not allow them to progress to a development application stage. So when I put those alternative locations to the community in my survey, more than 50% wanted it in one of those other locations, and of that grouping, 41% had chosen candidate B, which was in the development application, which is a piece of land north of Appel Crescent and east of Erindale Drive. So it seems from the results of the survey that residents are not against the development, they're just against where it is being proposed.
Yes, because as I understand, it's a 25-metre tall tower, but surely you've got infrastructure in and around that single tower as well that would have to take up space.
That's correct. So there is surrounding infrastructure to support that tower. There would be a fenced area, there'd be utility equipment nearby, there'd have to be vehicle access to allow maintenance crews to come and maintain the tower. So it's not just the tower itself that would be imposing on that space, it's the supporting infrastructure too.
This is 666 ABC Radio Canberra. You're tuned into the afternoon's program. On the line is Liberal MLA for Brindabella, Deborah Morris, talking about a proposal to build a 25-metre Optus tower in Fadden. The location at the minute is, as we were saying, next to a pond, next to a tennis court. What have you been hearing from residents about that particular location? What are their biggest concerns, Deborah?
They are very concerned at the loss of green space. So this is a highly popular and widely used community asset, which is on the doorstep of many homes. So they're concerned that how this would impact their recreational assets, the tennis court, the playground, the pond, the impacts that it would have on the scenic nature of their area. A lot of residents have also raised concerns about the creation of potential blind spots for motorists who are turning the corner of Bugden Avenue and Nicklin Crescent. So many residents are concerned about that too. And of course, it's very the parcel of land is very close to homes. So some homes would be opening their front door and would be greeted by a 25-metre phone tower. So there's a lot of concern and angst in the community on this issue, and this week in the Assembly I will be presenting those concerns and my survey findings to the Assembly and to the ACT government and asking them to acknowledge that.
Okay. I know there was a period of public submissions or submissions to the development application. Did you make a submission on behalf of those you heard from in the survey?
Yeah, so we encouraged everyone who contacted our office to do that and to make those submissions through the Territory Planning Authority. And my understanding is that there was about 134 representations that were lodged. But I really wanted to hear directly from local residents themselves as to what they were concerned about and if there were concerns there, which is why I launched my community survey. And the results that have come back are very compelling and are very strong, and that's why I'll be taking them to the Assembly this week.
So where is the project actually up to at the moment? It's still at the minute a proposal, a development application to have it in that particular area?
That's correct.
Okay.
So the development application is currently being assessed by the Territory Planning Authority, and under the legislative framework, they have 45 days to respond to that development application. So we are expecting a response soon, imminently, but there are provisions as well within the Act that would allow them to extend that time frame as well. Part of what I will be asking the government this week in the Assembly is to reevaluate the alternative sites that the development application acknowledged but didn't pursue with because they were prevented from doing so in the first place.
Well, we'll be listening out on Wednesday, yes. Finally, and on another note, Deborah Morris, the Liberal Party is going to decide on a new leader tomorrow. Who would you like to see take the top job?
Well, look, that's ultimately a matter for my federal colleagues on the Hill, and I wish them all the best in making that very important decision because it will set the trajectory of the next 3 years for the Liberal Party, but it's not for me to weigh in on that.
Indeed, it will set the trajectory. Deborah Morris will be watching the Assembly on Wednesday. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much, Alice. Cheers.
Liberal MLA for Brindabella, Deborah Morris, talking about the proposed Optus telecommunications tower for Fadden.